I spoke with one of my professors. God bless her wherever she is. She gave me the tricks. Okay, Evans, change the CV, bring the education, the skills first, and put the so even the format, because I think she sat on a committee where she knew what goes into it. So she showed me something, and she also showed me how, if I get interviews, I should go about it. And I got it. I put it down.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they will ask you the question, Evans, can you tell us about a time where you had to disagree with your supervisor?
Yeah.
What was the disagreement? How did you go about it? And what was the outcome? That is
Yeah.
how.
All right, before we start, consider subscribing to the channel. This helps me so much. Thank you.
You look like somebody, you like the money. You like the money. So when you graduated, you decided to get into the job market and get a job. And you have a job now. Tell me about the process. How difficult was it to get
That
a
one
job?
can take like 2 years to talk about the process. Because it's very fresh and current. Like I've not, although I have it in my journal, like the things
Yeah.
I went through. I think I have almost like 50 points. The things I
Wow.
learned through
Throughout the
the
process. Wow.
2-3 months that I used to apply. So it's just a lot, but I'll just summarize it. So what happened is I graduated in May, just this year.
Yeah.
Applied for my OPT, and the OPT came at a point where I was done with school and I didn't have a job in June. And I had to find a job because when you have your OPT, you have 90 days to find a job.
Yeah.
Even than
Charlie.
that, you have to be out of the
Yeah.
United States. So I was just there applying for jobs here and there, very tedious, depressed, going through some emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Everywhere quiet. It's like the world was trembling all over me, like coming. It was just a lot of stuff going on. So I was like, okay, I know myself. I've done it before. This is not going to be the first time. It's not going to be rosy. I'm still going to push through. So, I do the YouTube stuff and all of that. So it got to a point where it's like, my beloved fans, my beloved people, I'm going on a break. Although I didn't tell anybody, but it got to a point like, this is
You
really
needed
good.
it. Yeah.
I really want to impact lives where I know I'm in a very comfortable place.
Exactly.
Not really be impacting lives where I'm struggling and going through. It doesn't
Exactly.
really add up. How do you show someone the way
Yeah.
you are not going there? You can't be a signboard like that. So I looked at all what was happening. It was very difficult applying for jobs and also doing interviews in the United States. I thought it was going to be easy, especially based on how we hear it. Oh, US is land of opportunities. Once you are done with school, job will be waiting for you. It's a lie. You have to go through series of applying for jobs, interviews upon interviews. So the interview is not just one. You go for first stage. Once you qualify, they tell you second stage, sometimes the final stage. So I was applying for jobs and I realized that I was like, I was being drained one way or the other because of how I was applying for jobs all over. So I sat down at a point and I asked myself, let me just go back to when I decided I'm applying to just United States. This time around, I'm applying for jobs, but I want to be strategic. I wouldn't apply for corporate jobs. I will apply for jobs in schools. So, and I did that because I was very deliberate about it. Because I realized for the most part, those were the ones that were getting me the interviews.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, if I'm getting more interviews from this area, then let me focus on it. So I remember even my school, my former school, like I applied to almost 50 jobs at CU board. That was how serious it was.
Like in one school, you apply
Yeah,
to 50 jobs in one school,
yeah.
which
It
means
was.
that overall you apply to like 1,000 jobs. Because if one school 50 jobs, then hey,
if I'm quantifying it,
wow,
I would say it will be around like the ones that I can quantify will be around 200 to 300 jobs. Like
wow,
if I'm quantifying,
yeah,
because there were some jobs that I applied that I didn't put in my Excel sheet because it got to a point I was like, no, I'm going to be deliberate. I'll track it. So I applied for it, the school, the position, accepted, interviewed, first stage, okay, rejected. Not so that was how I was tracking it. So it got to a point it was that serious and a lot of things were going into it. I was like, no, I think I have to activate the spiritual aspect of things. So, there are beautiful mountains here. So I went to the mountains, did some one or two stuff. When I came back, I was like, okay, let's go again. I was putting in the application, and at the end of the day, one thing that I was doing was that I was linking up with some professors who knew and had a fair idea of how it was like, because things have actually changed. There are some organizations, they don't want you to use AI to apply for jobs, but
Yeah,
they use AI to outsource.
of
So it
course.
didn't really add up to me. Well, you are telling me I shouldn't use AI to apply
Yeah,
for job, but you are using AI to
yeah,
determine whether I qualify. So I
yeah.
realized a lot of things goes into the application as compared to how I was doing it.
Mm,
How my roommate got a job even before he graduated, and he is a computer scientist, software
mm,
engineer. So I was like, what did he do right? So it got to that point where it was like a learning curve for me. I was like, let me sit down and relax and learn how things are working around me. Then I'll know how to put in an application. So I talked to this friend of mine who was a software engineer. He told me how he went about his stuff, but I realized his one was quite straightforward because he used just one CV to apply for almost 500 jobs, and he got one acceptance, and he went and he is working there. But
wow.
I realized I cannot use one CV, even though I was applying to schools, academic advisor, career coach, hall director. I can't use one CV. I
Yeah, they're
So
different.
I
Yeah.
was always changing my CV, tweaking it, and also cover letter. He applying for his software engineer he was not applying using cover letters. So a day he can apply to like 100 jobs. And I was like, bro, how are you doing it? It was because he was not writing cover letters, tweaking cover
Yeah,
letters, and tweaking his
yeah.
um, resume. And
Resume. Yeah,
IT people, it's just one page. If you have
yeah.
2 pages or 3 pages,
It's too much.
Amazon
Yeah,
people will not look at it.
yeah.
But I realize my field is different. They don't care about the number of pages, but at least it shouldn't be more than 2 pages. And also, I have to keep on changing it and the rest. So I spoke with one of my professors. God bless her wherever she is. She gave me the tricks. Okay, Evans, change the CV, bring the education, the skills first, and put the so even the format, because I think she sat on a committee where she knew what goes into it. So
Mm,
she showed me something, and she also showed me how, if I get interviews, I should go about it. And I got it. I put it down.
wow.
Then I reached out to now. I did organization communication. What I'm
Mm,
doing now, I'm a hall director in a school.
yeah.
It doesn't really overlap, although it overlaps. But
Mm,
the role that I'm in, most part, you have to have like a master's in higher education,
mm,
student affairs. I don't have a master's in higher education, although I applied for it when I was in Ghana. I've always had interest in higher education. I just
mm,
loved it. If I was going to go to Ghana and apply again and come back here, I would really consider higher ed because it is more practical and it aligns with my personality as
mm,
compared to what I did. So it was that moment where I was just bringing a lot of things together, assessing myself, what I'm good at. Okay, I've done content creation. I have over 40,000 followers across.
mm,
Can it even play a role
yeah.
or cannot play a role? My first job interview I got was a social media strategist for a
Mm,
TV station in the United States. And that was because of the content creation that I started some
yeah.
time ago, that some people didn't want me to continue because they felt it was too early for me to start content creation. The
Wow.
first job like interview that I got from a TV station that wanted me to handle their social media for them. You get the point. So that is how the processes went. At the end of the day, I decided to tailor it into universities, and God being so good, after applying to all those ones, I got multiple offers, and I decided to come here after 2 months of searching for job, where I got a message from national, uh, the international student. They are like, Gibbons, we've realized that it's been 45 days. You've not updated the system that you've gotten
Wow.
a job. That
Hi.
was the same day that I got an
An
offer.
offer. So you got several offers. How many offers did you get?
I got all the applications I did, I got 3 offers.
And then you decided to go to Colorado State University.
Yeah.
Why that one? Was there any reason, or you
One,
just like the
I checked
school?
it was the like relocation. I had to relocate to other states. I didn't want to
Okay.
risk it because it was just going to be learning a whole lot of. Because you know how every state is very different.
Yeah,
I've
that's
lived
true.
Colorado for 2 years. I love Colorado. Colorado is very beautiful, and I happened to come here during the summer. We had a football game, like a soccer. So when I came to Colorado State, I was like, "Oh, this is a very beautiful school." So when I applied and I got here, I was like, honestly, the offer was really, very.
Right now, you're the money man. Money count. That's good. Congrats.
Look at it, and I was like, I don't really want to leave Colorado. Talking about
Yeah,
the nation, I have to carry mine. You know how it is. You can't take
yeah.
your stuff to other states. So I was like, I'm just going to come here and just build it from here. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. But it's incredible, given your background, what you studied, organizational communication, and now you are residence hall director. So how were you able to convince them that you can do the job? And how many interviews did you go through?
I did a lot of interviews,
No, like in
and
that particular school, like how many interviews did you have to go through? Like,
for
was
the
it like
first,
two?
yeah, two. So the first one called me for like 30 minutes. I talked to the person. I've forgotten them, although I'm working with all of them. But the funny thing, all those who interviewed me, I don't remember all of them except one of them, although I'm working with them. So
Yeah.
I did two. The first one, like when I went through the first stage, I got a message on that same day that he has proceeded to take me to the final stage,
Oh
which
wow.
really doesn't happen. Because sometimes when you do it, you hear from them 2 or 3 days or 1 week
Yeah,
later.
1 week or something. Yeah.
But that day, that same day after the interview, he told me he would be proceeding with like me to the
Yeah. Wow.
stage. The final stage was also like 1 hour, 30 minutes of interviews with almost all the heads, like the department,
Yeah.
and the yeah, that's how it went.
Do you mind sharing some of the questions they ask you? You know.
The questions they asked me. So one thing that I was doing was, for the most part, I would tell them to put the questions in the chat box because because it was a new field for me one way or the other. Although I had a background with resident director staff in Ghana Methodist University, but Methodist University, is kind of a bit private, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it wasn't very rigorous like the things that I'm seeing here.
Mm.
At the end of the day, what I was doing was that any interview that I will attend, I will let them put the questions in the chat box. I will copy them and go and rehearse them for other interviews.
Oh, okay.
But
Wow.
I realized some of them were very, similar, and some of them were very different. So
Mm.
similar ones that they will ask you is, why did you apply to their program? Like why that
That job.
why do you want to do it? And I would say that the first question they ask you is your opening. If you don't talk and express yourself well, it could decide how the interview went.
Yeah.
Because I did other interviews and I performed badly. There were some interviews that were like video assessments. Before you do the actual interview, they will do
Yeah.
auto-generated video assessment.
Mm.
It was a lot of things went into it, and I'm bringing. Once I zoom into the video creation again recently, I'm going to have a lot of podcasts to talk about because there are a
Yeah.
lot of few people must know, and once they know, I believe I'm trying to summarize all of them to you, and it's
Yeah.
tough a little bit, but I'll say they'll ask you why did you choose that particular job,
Yeah.
and they'll also ask you. They can ask you, tell them about how you see social justice, like, and they can also tell you, talk about. I wish my journal is in my room. The questions are
Yeah.
there, but
Yeah. That's
it was a lot
so.
of things there.
Yeah. Later on, when you create the content, people are going to watch it. So Yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted a brief. Okay, that
And it's also
yeah,
dependent, the schools. So normally the questions are geared towards, sometimes you get a question on diversity,
mm,
sometimes you are going to get a question on how do you multitask?
yeah,
And for the most part, the questions were situational and behavioral questions.
mm,
They don't give you what is. They give you
yeah,
questions that they want you to reflect to a time that you did something and
yeah,
how you did that thing and the results of that thing. So that is
yeah,
how I was going about it using the STAR method. So
yeah,
they would ask you the question, Evans, can you tell us about a time where you had to disagree with your supervisor?
yeah,
What was the disagreement? How did you go about it? And what was the outcome? That is
yeah,
how intense the question can be. So
yeah,
when they ask that, you just use the approach where, so what I was doing, sometimes I'll just go straight to the point before I'll start explaining. And sometimes I'll explain before the end part. I'll let them know what I was able to learn from it or
yeah,
what it was able to help me to achieve. But that is how
yeah,
serious it is. Behavioral questions, situational questions, they want you to always reflect it to something you've done in the past.
yeah,
And it could be something, it shouldn't be like related to like the job that you're coming to do.
mhm,
So there were a lot of times that I was situating things to the content creation that I did. There were a lot of times that I situated things to the little bit of the residential stuff that I did when I was in Methodist
mm,
University. So it just depends on how you go about it. They don't really need you to be very like directed. No.
yeah,
However you go about it, at the end of the day, you just have to make sure you are confident, articulate the ideas, and you'll be able to catch their attention. So with all my first questions, I spent almost like 3-4 minutes talking. Evans,
mm,
why did you choose this program? And that what I did was always every interview I go onto their site, check their values and their goals, their mission statement and their vision statement.
yeah,
And once I'm talking, I align it with that of what they believe in. I
mm,
I introduce myself. My name is Ivan Sasante Japan. I'm from Ghana. When I was in Ghana, I did this, and at this point, I got a scholarship in Ghana, and my interest in higher education sparked. And as a result of that, I served in this role. When I was in this role, I did this, and I decided to advance my studies. I applied, I got a scholarship to come and study here in organizational communication. Whilst I was studying, I was also a teaching assistant, but I also served as a financial secretary with this body, and I also volunteered with this body all
amazing.
in one question. I am
Yeah,
saying myself to them. I'm telling them who I am. So
yeah,
sometimes you finish it and they're like, nice one.
wow,
They don't ask you, why did you choose this? Oh, I chose this because you believe in diversity and creating sustainable inclusivity for everyone. So that is what motivated. Before I come to that, I will take it back to Ghana, how
mm,
I started, how my interest sparked in this field, how it enabled me to even create a channel to help like-minded people,
yeah,
where I coach people, where through my platform, a lot of people have been able to come to the United States. And I've garnered over 45,000 people across my social media. You are giving them evidence.
that's
You are
amazing. Yeah,
that they
that's
can work with.
amazing.
They know that this person knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
And
that's
once you
amazing.
is any other question, you can do with it what you want to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, that actually makes you more comfortable answering other questions. Yeah, that's amazing. Did they give you housing as well? Because this job they give housing, they give you
Yes,
housing, they give you food.
everything is covered. Yeah.
Hey, Evans, Charlie, you enjoy life. Oh. You enjoy life because if housing is covered, food is covered. Even if you don't always want to eat the food, at least
One shout,
you are living the American dream.
one shout, one shout,
One
one
shout, one shout. Oh, nice, nice, nice. That's good. That's
shout.
it is the reward of working so hard. You see the thing, yeah,
And a lot of work, but yeah, at the end of the
yeah,
day, that was what was keeping me like going. The
mm,
fact that it's difficult,
yeah,
at least once you get through with it, at least you are going to sit down and be like,
yeah,
it was worth it. So
yeah.
that is how it was like from
There is
this
a
room.
reward for that. Yeah,
Really, so I could really get like this three of us, and for me to
yeah.
be here having to
Nice,
all these things going on, I'm like, bro,
nice.
the suffering was not in vain.
Yeah, That's good. That's good.